Revealed, the incredible 12-month journey that transformed imperfections into heartwarming wisdom. Jenna stood in the kitchen, a battlefield of mismatched dishes and stacked papers, staring at the bills spilling out of an envelope. Endless reminders of her struggles. Yet, amidst the chaos, her two children, Lily and Sam, played obliviously in the living room, embodying innocence and hope. Jenna's heart clenched. She was a single mother in her 30s, trying to balance multiple jobs just to keep their humble home afloat. And while her neighbors looked through their perfect windows, her life was painted in shades of untamed chaos, an aging car parked on the street like a forgotten relic. Once a courageous spirit, the strength inherited from her late father felt like a faint whisper now. He had believed in self-reliance, instilled that drive deep within her, yet here she stood, feeling like she was drowning. The judgment from others pierced her heart. They only saw the untidy home, the missed school events, the tired smile. They didn't see the fierce love she poured into her children, the sacrifices made to feed them each day. Driven by that love, Jenna hatched a plan. She envisioned a neighborhood gardening initiative. A place to cultivate not just plants, but community, where neighbors could share responsibility and find solace in the soil. The idea sprouted with hope, but when she approached her community, initial whispers of doubt clouded her enthusiasm. More trouble than it's worth, they'd say, shaking their heads. But Jenna didn't give in. She met each discouragement with quiet strength, her heart beating with relentless optimism, planting seeds of change in every conversation. However, the universe had its own storm brewing. One fateful night, the sky unleashed its fury. A vicious storm swept through the town, wreaking havoc. Homes were damaged, including her friend Maria's, another single mother who was left on the verge of losing everything. Jenna's heart broke as the storm revealed not just the fragility of their homes, but the deep-seated biases lingering in their community. At the next town hall meeting, the air buzzed with tension. Jenna felt the weight of countless watchful eyes on her. She stood there, trembling yet resolute, as voices around her drowned in judgment. "This is not about just our homes, it's about compassion," she shouted, her voice cracking with emotion. The congregation fell silent, their heads turned, some faces displaying disbelief. She was more than a struggling single mother, she was a beacon of unity, challenging their long-held beliefs right there and then. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." The room pulsed with growing disbelief and the silent whispers of realization began to flow. Jenna's heart raced as she laid bare her struggles, revealing her vulnerability, hoping for that spark of connection to ignite empathy among her neighbors. It felt like more than just her battle, it was a chance for her community to confront the fears that divided them. As tension hung in the air like the aftermath of the storm, Jenna stood at the threshold of transformation, knowing that in this moment lay the possibility of change. Would they rally and rebuild together, or would their prejudices keep them apart? Faced with the emotional crossroads of their shared humanity, Jenna fought for understanding, her spirit fierce amidst the looming shadows of doubt. The outcome teetered on a knife's edge, and as she stood there, she couldn't help but wonder if this was just the beginning of something extraordinary or the end of another weary battle. Jenna's breath caught in her throat as she stood at the town hall, eyes flickering over the crowd. Faces she recognized, neighbors she shared fleeting smiles with in passing, now staring back at her. There was Mark, the grumpy one who always grumbled about kids playing too loud, and Sarah, who tended to her perfectly manicured lawn as if it were a celebrity. But tonight, their expressions shifted, uncertainty flickered in their gazes. Compassion. What a novel idea, an older man muttered from the back. The words cut through the silence, and the room seemed to breathe in unison like an indrawn gasp. But instead of retreating under their skepticism, Jenna stepped forward, her pulse quickening. "That's what we need," she countered, the fire in her belly igniting. "Imagine if we stopped looking at our fences and began seeing each other?" Her voice wove through the crowd, it held a warmth that felt almost tangible. Slowly, she noticed a few heads begin to nod in agreement, one by one. It was the tiniest flicker of hope, yet it felt monumental. Jenna clasped her hands together, grounding herself. "We're all fighting our own wars. Together, we could build something beautiful, a garden where we can come together, grow, and support one another." A murmur rose in the crowd, hesitant, like the rustling of leaves before a storm. Still, she pressed on, "I know many have lost so much. This isn't just about plants, it's about healing. What if we planted seeds of kindness? Tended both our gardens and our community?" As she spoke, a ripple of recognition spread through the room. Several neighbors glanced at each other, their hardened faces beginning to soften. Jenna caught a glimpse of Maria in the corner, her eyes glistening. Her heart began to swell, she was reaching them. "I can't do this alone," Jenna continued, vulnerability creeping into her voice. "But together? We could transform this neighborhood. We could be stronger. We could be a family." That word family hung in the air like a most abundant promise. Then, a reluctant hand rose from the back. It was Mark, the usual naysayer. "You really think neighbors would come together like that? Isn't it all just talk?" His tone was gruff, but Jenna saw something in his eyes, an echo of longing. Jenna's heart raced, her mind racing to form her answer. "What if we tried? Just once? Even if it seems impossible. Couldn't the dilapidated flower beds outside our windows be a symbol of change? Something unifying?" A quiet broke out, the weight of her words hanging like heavy clouds. Slowly but surely, a few more hands began to rise. "I'll help tend the garden, I've got a few tools," someone called out from the side, their voice tentative. "I can bake. I could bring food for gatherings," chimed another. Jenna's heart soared. With each small offering, walls began to crumble, and the laughter of her children rang in her ears, children who deserved more than this fragmented existence. As voices joined in, Jenna could feel the energy shifting. "Together," she echoed, the word resonating within her, "we'll do this together." A soft smile crept on her lips as she watched these figures begin to stand taller. There was raw potential in the room now, and hope pulsed where doubt had reigned just moments before. But just as the warmth filled her heart, the door swung open, a gust of cold air rushing in. It was the mayor, her expression unreadable. "Jenna, we need to talk." The change that had started to blossom flickered in her chest, replaced by uncertainty as she caught the wary glances of her neighbors backtracking. What did this mean for her fragile, newly sprouted initiative? As the mayor approached, Jenna wondered if this was just the beginning or if they were about to face another storm, a very different one. Jenna could feel the air thickening around her, a tightening sensation in her chest while the mayor made her way through the sea of curious faces. The sound of her steps echoed ominously against the walls, and for a moment, the world outside the town hall seemed like a distant memory. Had their hopeful discussions come too easily? "I'm sorry to interrupt," the mayor said, her voice steady yet low. "But we have some serious issues that need to be addressed." Jenna's heart sank. The way the mayor said serious felt heavy, each syllable punctuating the growing wall of dread. This was the moment she had imagined, a moment of victory filled with promises of unity. But now, that dream felt like it shimmered just out of reach, like a mirage disappearing under the blazing sun. "What kind of issues?" Jenna managed to ask, her voice shaking just slightly. She could feel the weight of every head turning towards her, uncertain. "There's been talk of budget cuts," the mayor replied, glancing down at her notes. "We may have to prioritize other projects over community improvements, including your garden initiative." A collective gasp rippled through the crowd, but Jenna's instincts kicked in. The words budget cuts echoed like thunder, darkening the vibrant flicker of hope that had begun to glow moments ago. "But we just started, please," Jenna said, desperation leaking into her tone. "You can't take away what we've only begun to build together. We need this garden to heal, to really be a community." The mayor raised her hand to quiet the murmurs bubbling among the crowd. "I understand, and I truly believe in community projects. However, the town's financial health is at stake, and we must be realistic." Jenna glanced around, searching for support, for anyone who shared her vision. She saw Maria's hand clutching her heart, visibly shaken. Mark stood rigid, arms crossed, but Jenna could glimpse a flicker of determination in his eyes. "Wait, what if we held a fundraiser?" Jenna blurted out, suddenly fueled by the urgency of the moment. "We could raise the money ourselves. Involve everyone in our initiatives. Bake sales, garage sales, whatever it takes. We can show the town that we're committed." A few nods joined her desperate plea, but the mayor remained stoic, studying the crowd. After a moment, she sighed, "That could work, but it requires planning and cooperation, something I'm not sure is possible in such short notice." Jenna pushed back against her doubts. "Let us prove her wrong. We just started breaking down barriers. This is just another obstacle we can tackle together," she urged, her conviction igniting something new in the crowd. Then, to her surprise, Mark stepped forward, his voice steady but fierce. "I'll lend my truck for deliveries if we have to gather supplies, I'm in. We can't let this lose momentum." Maria added, "I can spread the word. Everyone loves a good bake sale, especially if it'll help us all." With each new voice raised, a wave of energy flooded the room. Jenna felt the burden lifting just slightly, the possibility of change flickering like a candle in the dark. "We need to get organized," Jenna declared, her resolve shining through. "Let us set a date, get our ideas together. If we want to fight for our garden, we've got to fight for each other." As they shouted out ideas, this spirit of collaboration ignited a fire in her heart. This was not just her battle anymore, it was a collective fight, a chance for every neighbor to step into the light. But just as excitement began to swell, Jenna locked eyes with the mayor, who still stood firm, arms crossed. "I hope this goes well, Jenna," she said quietly, her gaze unwavering, "but you have a long road ahead." With the support of her neighbors, hope fluttered against Jenna's heart like the wings of a butterfly, fragile yet full of potential. But tomorrow came with its own challenges, and the thought of encountering setbacks made her stomach twist. "Can we really do this?" She wondered aloud, the crowd buzzing with activity but her thoughts racing ahead. What if they fell short? What if they faltered before they ever truly began? As the question lingered in her mind, she felt the excitement seep into nervous uncertainty. But there was no turning back now. Together, they would face whatever was ahead. As she turned to leave the town hall with her neighbors beside her, the feeling of possibility wrapped around her like a warm embrace, but fear lurked just beneath the surface. Would this be their moment of triumph, or the moment everything crumbled again? The sun peeked through the clouds the next morning, casting a warm glow over the town like a promise of new beginnings. Jenna stood at the kitchen counter, her hands busy mixing flour and sugar for the first batch of cookies meant for the bake sale. The sweet scent filled the room, but her heart didn't match the moment. It was thrumming with anxiety. Would today be the start of something wonderful or the beginning of a complete disaster? As she slid the dough onto a baking sheet, her mind drifted back to that fateful meeting. The mayor's words clung to her like a shadow. "You have a long road ahead." Just then, Maria burst through the door, her smile wide but her eyes betraying a flicker of concern. "I brought more baking supplies. We're going to need them." Jenna released a breath she didn't know she was holding. She needed this every bit of support. "Thank you. I was just thinking about how much we're going to have to bake if we want to get the town engaged." Maria nodded enthusiastically. And I've already posted about the sale on social media. People are excited. They want to help. As they worked side by side, the atmosphere in the kitchen shifted. Laughter filled the air, a balm for Jenna's worries. Each cookie they shaped felt like a small token of resilience. But as trays of cookies filled the oven, Jenna's phone buzzed on the counter, jolting her back to reality. It was Mark. "I'm here. Where do you want me?" His text read. She hurriedly replied, "Meet me at the community center. We need to start setting up." When they arrived, the hall was bustling. Neighbors were rolling in with baked goods, craft items, and their own ideas. The energy radiating from the crowd felt infectious. Jenna couldn't help but soak it in. By the time Mark arrived, Jenna felt a sense of purpose wash over her. "Look at this place!" Mark exclaimed, as he surveyed the scene. "Everyone's really pitching in." "Yeah, it's amazing." Jenna grinned. "Just imagine what we can achieve if we keep this momentum going." Yet as the hustle continued, a familiar unease nestled into her gut. What if it wasn't enough? What if all this effort fell flat as soon as the mayor's office found an excuse to cut their initiative? The thought haunted her. Still, as she organized tables and decorations, she heard snippets of conversations, people excitedly sharing ideas about the garden, about a space that could unite them. That gave her the reassurance she needed. "Jenna!" A voice called out. It was Maria again, waving a flyer excitedly. "Look! I designed this for the event. We can hand them out around town and really get people talking." Jenna took the flyer, her heart warming at the sight. It was colorful, with images of the garden, and a vibrant font inviting everyone to join them. "This is fantastic. You've outdone yourself." At that moment, Jenna realized that the worry creeping in could not overshadow the joy of unity forming around her. With a smile on her face, she decided to embrace it, let it propel them forward. Maybe today was the day they would turn their hopes into reality. Midway through the setup, as Jenna stepped outside for a breath of fresh air, she spotted the mayor walking towards the community center. Her heart raced. Had she come to shut them down? The earlier fears bubbled to the surface. But just like that, doubt was replaced with determination. Jenna wouldn't let that happen. She vowed silently to herself. This was her community, and together they could fight for it. Couldn't they? As the mayor approached, stirring murmurs among the gathering crowd, Jenna felt the weight of the moment constricting again. Would she be a friend, supporting their efforts, or a foe, ready to snuff out their light? The crowd hushed, all eyes on the mayor as she cleared her throat, ready to address the ever-growing assembly. "Thank you for what you've all done today," she began, and Jenna's stomach flipped. What would come next? "And I want to commend you for your dedication to our community." Jenna's breath hitched. The initial tension loosened, but only slightly. The mayor continued, her voice steady, "Our town has always thrived when we come together. I'm here to support your mission with the community garden. It's time we focus on growing not just food, but hope." The crowd erupted into cheers. Jenna could hardly believe her ears. Gratitude rushed over her, and she exchanged a look with Mark, who mirrored her astonishment. This was the moment they hoped for, the affirmation they needed to take their dreams further. However, the mayor said, raising her hand for silence, "I must remind you that starting an initiative like this requires more than just enthusiasm. We will need to navigate funding, regulations, and even town approvals." A hush fell once more. Jenna's heart sank briefly as the reality of those hurdles settled in the air like a weight. Maria reached out and squeezed her hand, a silent reassurance that their fight was far from over. "Let us address these together," the mayor continued, a spark in her eyes. "I'll be hosting a meeting next week for everyone to present ideas, gather feedback, and outline next steps. Who's in?" The crowd burst into applause, and Jenna found herself clapping along, feeling the heat of determination radiating from those around her. Could this really be the start of the transformative project they had envisioned? "Imagine a place that brings us together," Mark said, leaning closer. "Not just for gardening, but for classes, gatherings, everything we need to connect." "That's the idea," Jenna replied, already dreaming about vibrant community events, families laughing together, children playing all within their garden. This wasn't just a project anymore, it was a bright vision for their future. With the meeting announced, a plan began to form in Jenna's mind. They need representatives from all those who contributed today, each voice adding weight. Excitement thrummed in her veins. Jenna could almost touch the horizon of what they might achieve. As the logistics buzzed around her like a swarm of bees, Jenna caught sight of the mayor once more, who was smiling at the crowd with genuine warmth. The politician was finally a partner instead of a distant figure. She felt a spark of hope igniting within her. But as they resumed mingling, a slow realization crept in. With great dreams came great challenges. The mayor's mention of regulations echoed ominously in her thoughts. What if their ambitions were thwarted by red tape? Jenna pushed the worry away for now. Today was about celebration. As evening settled over the community center, Jenna, Mark, and Maria gathered to brainstorm. They flipped through ideas, jotted down proposals, and sketched out plans. Each creativity-fueled moment drew them closer to unearthing more potential. But then a message came in on Jenna's phone. It was a contact she hadn't spoken to in years. Tom, an old mentor from college. "We need to talk," it read. "It's important." Jenna's heart skipped a beat. Memories flooded back of their shared struggles and ambitions, but also of the fallout that had led to their estrangement. What could this mean for her and the garden project? Would Tom's intentions add more fuel to her dreams or complicate things further? The hum of her friends faded as she stared at the screen. It was just one more thread to navigate in the tapestry they were weaving. "Jenna? You good?" Mark's voice pulled her back. "You look a bit pale." "Yeah, I think I need to take this," she said softly, standing up. As she stepped away, doubt mingled with excitement. What had Tom to say that might change everything? The weight of the moment lingered in the air as she pressed the phone to her ear, ready to confront whatever was waiting on the other end. Would it be the help she needed or another hurdle to tackle? "Hello, Jenna?" Tom's voice broke through, and the uncertainty rushed back in. "Tom," Jenna managed, her voice wavering slightly. "It's been a while." She paced away from the crowd, her heart racing at a mix of old memories and worry. "It really has," he replied, the warmth in his tone just enough to bring a small flicker of comfort. "I've seen what you're trying to do. The community garden sounds remarkable. But I didn't reach out just for a friendly chat." Jenna's mind spun. What could he want? What's this about? "You said it was important." The tension in her voice was palpable. "I want to help. I have some connections and resources that could benefit your project. But I also have some concerns." His words caught Jenna off guard. She took a breath, grounding herself. "Concerns? About the garden?" "Look, Jenna, I know you're passionate. But starting a community initiative isn't as simple as gathering people with good intentions. You'll face pushback. People are resistant to change. I've been through this before." His tone was a blend of reassurance and warning. She could feel the familiar bitterness of the past creeping back. "I appreciate your input, but I have to ask, is this your way of saying you don't believe in it? Because I need people who do." There was a brief silence. Then Tom spoke again, softer this time. "It's not that. I believe in your vision. You just need a clearer strategy. Think things all the way through. I can come back to town, help you set up a solid plan to tackle those regulations the mayor mentioned." Together, we can rally the community. We can make this happen. Jenna considered this. Could she trust him? After all those years apart? The thought unnerved her, yet his offer was tempting. What do you get out of this? She asked, wanting to tread carefully. I get to see a community project thrive, something I admire deeply, he said. And maybe it's time I make amends with some choices I regret. Jenna hesitated, her mind racing. Could they really work together again, with all that had happened? Just the year before, she would have walked away from such an offer. But now she was tired of handling things alone. And the garden represented something bigger than both of them hoped for their town. Let me think about it, she said, a mix of trepidation and hope racing through her. Of course, Tom replied. Just promise me you'll consider it. I believe in this. I believe in you. Thanks, Tom. As she hung up, Jenna felt the weight of the conversation settling heavily on her shoulders. She turned back towards Mark and Maria, their laughter and chatter drawing her in, but her heart still raced from the unexpected call. Hey, Mark said, noticing her faraway look again. What was that about? Just catching up with an old friend, she replied, careful to keep her tone light. But deep down, she knew it was more than that, it could change everything about their plans. Good or bad news? Maria asked, her forehead creased in that way Jenna always found endearing. Both. I think we might have some help. Jenna's mind raced. Could she really let Tom back into her life, especially when the stakes felt so high? The three friends caught up in conversation again, but Jenna's thoughts swirled with questions and worries. Could they work together, or would their past sabotage everything? At that moment, excitement gave way to the familiar pang of uncertainty. Jenna took a breath, staring into the flickering lights of the community center. The future felt both bright and daunting. Just then, a commotion erupted near the door. Jenna turned just in time to see a group of protesters stepping inside, their signs held high, righteous anger etched into their faces. What now? Mark whispered, his eyes wide. Jenna swallowed hard, feeling her heart pound louder than ever. How would they respond now, when everything felt like it was finally coming together? The warmth of community slipped away, replaced by a chill of worry. What were these new obstacles threatening their dreams? Would their garden even survive the night? Jenna blinked, trying to process the scene unfolding before her. The protesters surged into the community center, their voices elevating, demanding attention. Thick tension settled in the air, a sharp contrast to the light-hearted conversations that had just moments ago filled the space. Are we going to let them ruin everything? Maria whispered, her eyes darting around as if searching for an escape. Mark shifted closer to Jenna, protective. What are they even protesting? Jenna squinted, struggling to make out the letters on the placards. No more gardens, one read, while another screamed, "Save our parking spaces." The hostility chilled her. These were the people she had hoped to engage with, not alienate. Her stomach twisted. Just as she had taken a step forward, it felt like two had been let back. Everyone, please. She called out, raising her hands in a bid to quiet the growing unrest. But her voice barely pierced the cacophony. The crowd was buzzing with anger, fueled by misunderstandings and fear of change. "We're not against the garden," a voice shouted from the group, a taller man with deep-set eyes stepping forward. "We just don't want our neighborhoods to turn into chaos." Chaos. The word reverberated in Jenna's mind. Was that all they saw in her dreams for a community garden? A chaotic upheaval? She fought back the flash of frustration, taking a deep breath. "Please, let us talk about this," she pleaded, stepping closer to the group of protesters. "I wanted to create a space for us, a beautiful area we could all enjoy. A place for families, for community events. I'm not aiming to take anything away." Tom's warning echoed in her ear. People are resistant to change. She couldn't even deny its truth right now. Change doesn't always mean losing what we have, a woman's voice chimed in from the back, but it was drowned out by others who still shouted their opposition. Where will we park? What about our property values? A man interjected, his fists clenched tightly around the signs. Jenna felt her hands tremble. She wanted to yell back, to defend her vision, but this wasn't the time for anger. It was time for understanding. I get it. Change is scary. I've lived it, and I can see why you're concerned. But let us work together to find a way to make this happen, where all voices are heard. The crowd's tension swelled and shifted slightly, some faces softening while others remained furrowed with distrust. Mark stepped beside her, his presence grounding. What if we arranged a community meeting? A place for everyone to discuss their fears and find common ground? Something flickered in Jenna's chest, a spark of hope mixed with uncertainty. Could they transform this moment from division to unity? I will even set it up, Mark added confidently. Let us make it happen. We need to show them that this garden is for everyone. The murmurs of dissent began to quiet. Jenna looked into the eyes of the protesters, searching for that flicker of openness. I promise, no one will lose anything. We'll preserve the things you love about our town. The tall man stepped forward, skepticism still evident on his face. And what if we still don't want it? Then we'll go back to square one, Jenna replied without hesitation. But let us try, give us the chance to prove it can be a benefit. I want your thoughts, your ideas. The more voices we have, the better. Silence settled over the crowd. Jenna could feel the weight of their apprehensions resting heavily in the air. Her heart raced, her stomach churned. Would this be enough to shift the tide? Just then, she caught sight of Tom standing at the back of the community center, his expression unreadable. The uncertainty inside her amplified. If they could band together in this moment, would it make the difference she so desperately wanted? Jenna stepped closer to the group, ready to fight for her vision. Let us work together, let us discover what we can build as a community. But little did she know, even as she extended her hand to bridge the chasm between them, an unexpected revelation awaited. What if the very people she sought to unite were harboring secrets about their own connections to the garden that would change everything she thought she knew? Jenna stood at the edge of the crowd, the silence hanging heavy as she absorbed the tension in the room. She could feel the weight of their gazes, some searching, others hostile. The tall man who had spoken moments ago seemed to radiate both curiosity and defiance. She needed to act before the moment slipped away. Let us do this together, she urged, her voice steady, almost warm, as if inviting them into a cozy space rather than a battlefield. I want to understand your concerns and really listen. Open dialogue can lead to understanding. We can reshape what is happening here. Mark squeezed her shoulder, giving her a boost of courage. Slowly, she noticed heads begin to nod, a spark of uncertainty replaced by the flicker of possibility. But it only took one loud question to reignite the fire. And what do you know about our community? A woman shouted from the back. This isn't just about plants. It's our homes you're talking about. Jenna's heart sank. Of course, she didn't know everything. She had walked the streets but never truly felt what it meant to belong. You're right, she admitted, relishing the moment. I'm new here. But I'm willing to learn. Maybe you could share the stories that make this place special? There was a stirring among the crowd. Voices began to rise, a few people giving way to relaying memories lodged in their hearts. A woman spoke of her children planting flowers in their front yard, her voice thick with nostalgia. A man shared tales of block parties held in summer, laughter echoing through the warm nights. Each story threaded a little more connection into the tense atmosphere. Jenna tried to weave their shared memories into her vision for the garden. What if we create a community park where we could hold those block parties? A space where your stories can be told with every flower that blooms? The buzz around her grew, softening the harsh edges of dissent. She could feel the shift, but just as she thought the darkness was lifting, someone shouted, "And what if your garden makes all those memories disappear?" It was like a punch to her gut. Jenna swallowed hard. "It won tea," she vowed, voice cracking slightly. "I promise you, I'm not here to bulldoze your history. I want to celebrate it. The garden isn't a trade-off, it's a way to honor what's already here." Yet, doubt still lingered. Before she could push further, she caught Tom's eyes again. His expression was unreadable, a mixture of concern and contemplation. She wanted to reach him, wanted to know what held him back from joining them. Suddenly, the tall man stepped forward again, a new intensity in his gaze. "You really want to connect? You have to know about the underlying issues we're facing. This isn't just about plants, it's bigger than that." Jenna felt the tension return, more palpable than before. Something was brewing, an essence of secrets that lay dormant just beneath the surface. "What do you mean? What issues?" She leaned in, her heart racing. "If we share, will you honestly listen?" He challenged gently, and she nodded, desperate for the truth. With every word spoken after that, Jenna felt the world she thought she was building begin to crumble. She began to understand that the garden was just a piece of something much larger. As she waded deeper into the conversation, the secrets unfolded, revealing layers of struggles that stretched back years. Each revelation stirred a mix of shock and compassion within her. But as truths were unearthed, Jenna couldn't shake the unnerving feeling that this wasn't just about a garden anymore. What if what she learned next changed her perceptions entirely? What if the whispers of past grievances would unveil something far deeper than she dreamed? Feeling the urgency of the moment, Jenna gripped the edge of the table and locked eyes with the man, ready for the truth that could either unite them or pull them apart. The man took a deep breath, his eyes flickering toward the crowd. "You don't know the half of it," he began, his voice low but steady. "This community has been fighting for years. It's South not just about gardens, it's about survival. We've seen neighbors pushed out, homes torn down for developments that promise change but deliver only more problems." Jenna held her breath. The air felt thick, a tension laden with grief and frustration. She scanned the faces around her, hurt, anger, but also hope, tiny embers waiting for the right spark. "What happened?" she whispered, desiring to blend her own urgency with their reality. The tall man, she caught his name as David, continued, "My father fought to keep this place alive. He had a garden too. It was his way of holding on to our culture, our lives. But when the city wanted to move him out for a shopping center, everything changed. Beneath the promise of new stores, they took away the community spirit." Murmurs echoed through the crowd, a blend of shared sadness and recognition. Jenna could feel their resolve strengthen, brick by brick, as they echoed David's story. So many like him, they lost their homes, their memories. And each time they said it was for progress, he added, bitterness creeping into his tone. "But where's the progress when we lose ourselves in the process? Would you be willing to share more?" Jenna replied, heart racing, trying to knit the threads of their grief into an understanding. "What if we could find a way to reshape that?" She caught Tom's eye again, longing for his support. He had been quiet since the discussion began, but Jenna knew he had stories to tell. Anticipation surged within her. David's brow furrowed. "What can you promise us? More empty words? We have seen too many people come in, promising change but taking away everything that was ours. I promise to listen. To learn." Jenna took a step forward, her heart pounding. "Together, we could create a garden that tells your stories, that respects all the roots that make this community thrive. It could be a living testament to your struggles and triumphs." Something flickered in Tom's eye. Was it hope? Jenna dared to press further. "A garden that doesn't erase the memories but embraces them. Where children can grow under the sun of those who came before them." A woman in the crowd, her voice trembling, stood up. You really think it can be more than just plants? That it can mean something? Absolutely, Jenna replied, every word filled with sincerity. This can be your history wrapped in new blooms, a space where people gather to remember who they are. A bridge to the future that honors your past. Hope danced through the crowd, slowly replacing some of the doubt that lingered in the air. Yet, uncertainty remained. Jenna felt the weight of their expectations pressing against her. The stakes were high. David crossed his arms, evaluating her. All right, if you're so committed, we'll meet again. But understand this, you're walking into something much deeper than you realize. Some truths might shatter your vision entirely. As he spoke, an undercurrent of fear washed over her. What could those truths be? They could break everything she had hoped to build, they could erase her vision completely. But amidst that fear lay an undeniable truth she needed to know more. This could unravel not just the project but all she thought she understood about community, belonging, and even herself. Then maybe what lies ahead can redefine us all, she said, a spark of defiance in her tone. I'm ready for the challenge. With that, the crowd felt the shift, a new energy surging through them. They began to chatter and share glances, re-engaging with one another, and Jenna wondered if she had pushed them just enough to ignite a deeper conversation. What further stories would be revealed? What would her newfound journey cost her? Determined to find out, Jenna clutched the table's edge, heart racing. The real work, she sensed, was just beginning. Would she have the courage to face the truths that could change everything she believed? A week passed, and Jenna found herself on a roller coaster of emotions. Each day brought more conversations, deeper stories, and sometimes even harsh revelations. The community gathered with open hearts, but also guarded spirits, still wrestling with the past intertwined in their lives. As she sat across from David at the town hall for yet another meeting, the once intimidating air between them felt warmer. Signs of healing were evident as they formed closer bonds with each exchange. David spoke passionately about his father and the garden they had lost. He dreamed of a space where people could gather, but greed snuffed it out. That's why I'm hesitant, he confessed, studying Jenna's face for understanding. I get it, Jenna replied, her voice smooth and steady. No one wants to feel like they're being erased. But what if we could right that wrong? Each seed we plant can symbolize the stories we hold dear. His expression softened, hope mingling with the fury of the past. You're trying to do something good. The spark ignited deeper discussions, diving into the community's shared dreams, fears, and aspirations 1 week at a time. Neighbors raised their concerns and desires more openly, turning the old ghosts into a foundation for something new. And then came the day they set the fundraising event. The air buzzed with excitement as families brought baked goods, handcrafted items, and homemade artwork ready to sell. It felt like an explosion of love, camaraderie, and hope coming together to support their community garden project. Jenna took a moment amidst the hustle to breathe it all in. The laughter of children filled the air, reminiscent of simple summer days. Maria was busy at a table, handing out cookies, while Mark helped set up colorful banners. It felt more vibrant than Jenna had ever imagined. She smiled as she caught a glimpse of David, cracking jokes with other neighbors. But as the sun dipped low, the atmosphere twisted tighter. People were sharing their stories about resilience, joy, and dreams of the future, yet Jenna felt the past prick at the edges of their enthusiasm, reminders of hardships. Can we really do this? Jenna whispered to Mark, the weight of responsibility heavy on her chest. It began to feel less like building a garden and more like piecing together shattered dreams. Absolutely. We've already come so far together. Look at them. Mark gestured toward a group of neighbors gathering around David, sharing stories and laughter. This is what it's all about. You're making history right here. Jenna felt warmth wrap around her, igniting a resolve she had lost along the way. Today wasn't just about the money raised, it was about forging connections, overcoming their shared fears, and transforming the past. "You're right," she nodded, feeling invigorated. As the evening wound down, Jenna stood in front of her community, a megaphone in hand, her heart pounding in her chest. "Thank you, everyone. Thank you for believing and investing your time. This isn't just about funds, it's about who we become together." Loud cheers erupted, their laughter mingling with the taste of fresh hope in the gathering dusk. She glanced around, her heart swelling with pride as she looked at each familiar face. They were family now, imperfect, but strong together. In the days that followed, they faced challenges. They hit snags with the city's regulations and unexpected funding issues. But those hurdles felt different this time. Every step back allowed for 2 steps forward. Together, they pooled resources, ideas, and most importantly, strength. Jenna's vulnerability had sparked a chain reaction, unearthing shared passions, empathy, and a collective vision like never before. David became a reliable ally, their bond grew through shared coffees and late-night brainstorming sessions. Finally, the day arrived, groundbreaking day. Jenna stood surrounded by her neighbors under the light of a beautiful golden sun, hands trembling with excitement. It was more than just dirt and seeds, it was hope, unity, and the promise of a future where their pasts breathed alongside the blooms of their garden. As they turned the first shovels of dirt, laughter filled the air once more. Children played nearby, adults exchanged stories while working side by side, and Jenna stood in awe. It felt surreal. This was her family. "Together, we can heal this place," Jenna said, voice unwavering, as she glanced at David beside her. "This garden is our canvas. Every plant tells a story, a testament to resilience, love, and unity." Hands joined in laughter, embraces, and encouragement as Jenna realized something profound in that moment. She'd not only grown a garden, they had cultivated something extraordinary: community, transformation, and unwavering strength. With new spirits soaring, Jenna breathed deeply, soaking in the warmth of new beginnings. She knew the path ahead would still twist and turn, but this time, she stood not alone, but with her community at her side. "Let us grow together," Jenna declared, her heart full to the brim. And as they dug deeper, they unearthed not just the earth, but a new chapter of life interwoven with the stories they had bravely shared. This was at the moment they forged together, not just for a garden, but for generations to come. As she looked out over the gathering, the voices of friends melded into a symphony of hope and love that whispered through the earth, they were home. This is your moment too. If you felt inspired and connected, subscribe immediately to our channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us grow. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending. Your voice matters. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to support this community now. Don't wait not even one more second to share the hope.